Donald Trump may be the most useful enemy the Democratic establishment has ever had. And what I mean by that is that Democrats may desperately want to beat him. His presence still gives party leadership a permanent emergency message and a permanent excuse. And here's how I think it probably works to some degree. Trump's in power. That's real. The executive overreach is very real. The attacks on democratic norms are real. His job approval has cratered, sitting around 34%, probably at best, in his second term. And the anti-Trump frame still moves a lot of people. So the message becomes simple in many ways. Democracy is on the ballot. Authoritarianism is at the door. There's no room for division. Vote blue now. Ask questions later. That message is emotionally powerful because part of it is true. But here's the problem. When Trump is the central object of attention, Democratic leadership can avoid fully answering for its own institutional failures. They can postpone offering a bold economic program, for example, or sidestep donor power, or avoid explaining why so many working class voters feel abandoned still, why younger voters are disillusioned, or why major reform keeps getting pushed to later. They can simply point across the aisle and say, look how bad he is. That's a mechanism that they are happy to glom onto. It's also an enormous problem. Trump's extremism lowers the bar. Democrats can run as the safer alternative while avoiding the harder work of real transformation, the transformation that people want. And the polling tells you what that strategy is producing. Last year, a CNBC survey, the Democratic Party's net favorability fell to minus 32%, a number that CNBC said appeared to be the lowest rating for either party in its polling going back to at least 1996. A Quinnipiac poll found that only 18% of voters approved of the way Democrats in Congress were handling their jobs, while 73% disapproved. The lowest mark Quinnipiac had recorded on that question since it began asking it in 2009. Even among Democrats, only 42% approved of congressional Democrats while 48% disapproved. This is the profile of a party coasting on the other side's unpopularity. And here's where it gets more interesting, I guess we could say, in a very sad way. Any dissent from inside the coalition can be shut down with the same framing. Progressives pushing for stronger labor policy or anti-corruption reform or health care, campaign finance reform, generational leadership change, they can be told, now is the time for unity. We have to stay united. You're helping Trump. You're dividing the coalition. That's how the institutional inertia gets proposed to you as some sort of moral seriousness that you need to take a stronger stance against. You need to buck up and just deal with it this time around until the next time around, right? Some polling has even shown a deeper problem. Even when voters give Trump poor marks on major issues, Democrats still struggle to turn that dissatisfaction into broad trust on the economy or immigration or foreign policy. In tons of surveys, voters either split between the parties or say they trust neither party. That gap is a Democratic Party problem. It is also very much our republic's core problem. And the anti-Trump emergency framing that they're so hell-bent on pedestalizing is failing to close that gap. The donor class angle is also worth calling out. Corporate-friendly Democrats can sound like resistance leaders while protecting the economic arrangements that keep their donors comfortable. They can raise money off the crisis while avoiding the kind of systemic reform that would make powerful people really uneasy. God forbid they be nervous about anything. So here's the central tension. Trump is dangerous. I absolutely believe that. Living it. We all are. He is also useful. Those two things do exist at the same time. In a crisis era, such as we're in, a party has a couple of choices. It can become the vehicle for renewal, like actual, real, long-lasting, substantive renewal, or it can become the manager of decline. Trump gives Democrats a way to sound like renewal while practicing institutional preservation. The danger on every part of this is real. The political incentive to use that danger as a shield against reform is also very real. So the question is whether Democratic leadership is using that threat to build something better or using it to avoid becoming something better. A party that survives on fear may win elections sometimes, but a party that refuses to reform may not be able to meet the crisis it keeps warning us about.